Hello! So, a bit has changed since I last made a video, namely, Biden is out, Kamala is in, and she has Tim Walz as her running mate. Walz is an extremely wholesome dude. Huge family man, served in the National Guard for 24 years before becoming a high school teacher and also coaching the football team and also helping form the first gay-straight alliance at that school in the 90s. He recently held up a speech during a rally to make sure that someone in the crowd who was overheating got water and medical attention.
Freedom. Oh, can we get somebody to help? Somebody's hot. You okay? You get water? Thank you all for helping. Grateful. Thank you.
He did his master's on learning and teaching about genocides, which I think is really interesting. He apparently, with his students, created a model that predicted the Rwandan genocide, which sounds crazy, but is allegedly true. He's a gun owner, but he's in favor of red flag laws. He's just generally a very down-to-earth guy, and he's a good speaker, and he doesn't come with a lot of baggage, which means that Republicans are absolutely scrambling to find any sort of ammunition against him. So this is just me sort of talking through all the ways that Republicans are coping with Tim Walz, and also being pretty weird about it. Theoretically, all of the Republican attacks against Walz can sort of be graphed on this, I'm imagining this continuum where it's how meaningful is it and how weird is it? Because there's stuff like Laura Ingraham getting really worked up that Kamala Harris referred to him as coach when he was actually assistant coach.
To his former high school football players, he was coach. Coach.
Well, the truth, he was the assistant coach.
Where it's that's so not meaningful that it's just all the way over there in terms of how meaningful it is. And then there's how Donald Trump Jr. won't stop sharing memes about how he ingested a gallon of horse. And it's what? All that to come. Let's start with his military history. Right after he turned 17, Walz joined the National Guard, and he stayed in it for 24 years. He retired in 2005, shortly before his, battalion or whatever was enlisted to go to Iraq. So the claim is that he dropped out of the National Guard in order to avoid going to Iraq. To which I have a few gripes. First of all, 24 years is a long time, longer than most people serve in the military. He was in the National Guard from age 17 to 41. The actual order to go to Iraq didn't come for another several months after he retired. And also the process of retiring takes 6 months to a year just to actually happen. And then the guy who was a step below him, who took his place when he dropped out, had a literal decades-long campaign against him, being we gotta get this guy out of office, this guy's a liar.
What the hell is this, North Korea?
And it's he served for 24 years, dude. This guy who is really kind of leading the charge against him is also retired. Where does he get off retiring? And then the other sort of drama there is that Walz ended his career as a command sergeant major, but when he retired, he didn't technically retain that rank for bureaucratic purposes. He hadn't completed some schooling. So technically, I think he was just a
master sergeant
instead of a command sergeant major, but he referred to himself as a retired command sergeant major, which he doesn't do anymore. But they were oh my God, stolen valor. And it's this is the bombshell that's going to save your campaign. And JD Vance was, if I recall, a military reporter. He did not see combat when he was in Iraq. Something that he is quoted as saying, but then he got really mad at CNN for saying that he didn't see combat when he himself said that. Also, Trump was literally a draft dodger. So are we, and then they tried to be oh, he took a bullet for this country because he got shot at a rally.
Last week I took a bullet for democracy.
My running mate took a bullet for this country.
I feel that's more of stolen valor than Tim Walz having some slight bureaucratic discrepancies in his retirement after 24 years of service. So that's the most serious one, and it's kind of patently unserious. On this continuum of meaningful and weird, it's the least weird, but it's also super not meaningful, but it only gets more ridiculous from here. Inching more toward the weird side, we have Tampon Tim. So the story behind this one is that Walz signed a bill mandating schools to provide free menstrual products starting with, I think, 4th grade. So the bill says that they have to put menstrual products in the bathrooms. And then there was an attempt at an amendment to say only in the girls' bathrooms. And then someone said that potentially excludes trans people from getting menstrual products who need them. And so it was passed without that amendment. And so this turned into Tim Walz forced 4th grade boys to have tampons in their school bathrooms, to which I again say, who cares? Let's give the least charitable version of this, which is that he mandated putting tampons in 4th grade boys' bathrooms, which is not in the text of the bill, and how it's implemented is up to each individual school. But let's just say that this thing that Megyn Kelly keeps saying is true. And what is your point? This is why you get called weird. And then there's the just asking questions, I'll just leave this here approach that some people are taking, where like Trump War Room posted a picture of him with Ilhan Omar, and I don't know, people have been invoking her name a lot. I guess because they've been photographed together because they're both from Minnesota. I don't know what their point is. Like, they're politicians from the same state. And then there was Joey Manorino, who just will not go away, is like, this is Tim Walz's family. And then someone was like, looks normal, what's the problem here? And he goes, just sharing, we'll let others find problems if there are any. It's like, okay. And then similarly, he goes, Tim Walz dressed his dog up for a pride parade, and he's basically a Somalian. I won't say the rest, but I hope that dog is okay. I want you to explain, using words and not weird, vague gestures, why Tim Walz is basically Somalian. I need you to do that for me. It's important. It's very important. This is an official statement from the Trump Bans campaign. It's no surprise that San Francisco liberal Kamala Harris wants West Coast wannabe Tim Walz as her running mate. Walz has spent his governorship trying to reshape Minnesota in the image of the Golden State. It's like they want so badly to frame him as a coastal elite, but he doesn't do anything to evoke that imagery, so they're just kind of like pretending that it's there. Tim Walz is a dangerously liberal extremist, and the Harris-Walz California dream is every American's nightmare. And it's like, why do you keep making this about California? I've painted this picture of a continuum that I don't actually really know how I would graph out. But the point is that we are now in psychosexual territory where people's attacks on him become increasingly lustful in their verbiage. Everyone has already said everything about Walz that is obvious, but one final point. He gives off cuckold vibes, the sort of guy you might catch in a black leather gimp outfit from Pulp Fiction. He might have let Minneapolis burn because he got off on the humiliation. Being Kamala's VP pick is just another round of humiliation. And then in the reply, he's like, oh, they keep calling us weird. Like, yeah! The more we hear about Walz, the clearer it is that he's not some naive boomer hicklib like the Yellowstone Costner meme. This guy actually seems like a deranged freak. Led the Gay-Straight Alliance as a small-town high school teacher and coach in the 1990s. Excuse me, what? I like when this happens because they've so lost the plot that they're saying something that's so benign and so nothing, and they're like, that's really f***ed up. I'm certainly not accusing him of anything, but is anyone going to be surprised if we end up with the Denny Hastert situation here? Cause he helped found a gay-straight alliance, and you're accusing the left of sexualizing kids? And then it's him and his wife in front of a mural of George Floyd, and this guy says comforting his wife at her bull's funeral, and it's like, get off of 4chan. Get off of Poll. You're being weird. Christopher Rufo, who is an extremely prominent and influential right-wing figure, has been pontificating endlessly about Walz on the timeline. Tim Walz isn't trans, but he knows about cross-sex hormones. He's familiar with breast binders. He has a soft spot for tucking. Citation needed? Communist China, please. They can't tango with diversity. They can't defeat inclusion. They will cry when they hear our transgender patriots roar. He's not done. He's not like the other guys. He's hip to genderqueer. He loves non-binary children. He knows that graphic depictions of jobs and strap-on those belong in every classroom. He knows that love is love. Dude, chill out. Why is this written so lustily? You're so weird. Meanwhile, Walz passed legislation that provided free breakfast and lunch to all students regardless of need because we shouldn't be means testing that. And I had always seen pictures of it, typically contrasted with Sarah Huckabee Sanders signing her, like, let children work or something. But I just saw the video of when he signed that bill into law, and it's really sweet, and the kids are all so excited. And then we go back to Rufo, who is furiously one-handed typing about Tim Walz liking tucking and chest binders, and it's like, okay, you're definitely thinking about this more than he is. So then there was the whole JD Vance couch story, which I always found a little strange, and I was like, we probably shouldn't be doing that, but I did see someone who was like, you know, if they're gonna be saying that Democrats are doing post-birth abortions and all the other shit that they're saying Democrats do, we can have this little benign rumor about JD Vance and the couch. Sure. Whatever. Their response to the couch thing was so not proportional. And they did the weird guy thing where you immediately take the joke way too far instead of like slowly escalating it. So they start being like, oh, Tim Walz had to get his stomach pumped because he swallowed a gallon of horse cum. And it's like, whoa. And then Donald Trump Jr. won't stop posting memes about it. It's like, oh, I can't wait to be a stallion like Dad. Bro, we're in Tim Walz's stomach. Okay, part of what was funny about the JD Vance thing is that it's this very specific thing that he allegedly did. And with Tim Walz, they keep like dancing around it because they don't want to make a claim. So they're like, what's this that he did with a horse? They have nothing. And it's great because meanwhile, top Republican officials have to come out and say, guys, please stop talking about Kamala's race and sex so much. Please stop calling her a DEI hire. Please, it makes us look really bad. There's no structure to this video. I'm trying to not make all my videos so structured. Also, I made a Kamala Brat shirt, and I should have worn that for this video, but I just really didn't feel like wearing bright green. I made this one too, though, because I'm just a girl with a heat press, and I can't stop making shirts. Republicans are not beating the weird allegations.